Good afternoon. Every year we take an opportunity to recognize a student who has received a recognition by the National Campus Compact. Every year, the National Compact invites colleges and universities to nominate a student for the Newman Civic Fellows Award. The award showcases students who are exceptionally engaged in service to their communities. This year, we nominated a student who embodies the very spirit of service and the values of this institution. As a recent graduate from Health and Biomedical Sciences, she has excelled as a student leader and example to her peers, has consistently served the community's homeless population, has used her future goals of becoming a physician on medical mission trips, and has served the youth in her church with passion and conviction. A shining example of a leader in a culture of service and uncommon compassion, it is with great honor and a privilege to present the 2019 Newman Civic Fellows Award to Diana Ventura. Congratulations. Very proud of you. Very proud of you. Very good.
Hi everybody, welcome to Convocation. So we're going to start out with some worship songs, and if I can have you guys all stand, just to sing and praise God because He is so good.
From generation to generation, you are we are going to ask everyone to sit back down, and thank you for worshiping with us. We have one more song to sing with you as we sing this next song. Our theme this convocation is the future. So as we sing this beautiful hymn that's a little bit old school, but it means so much, we invite you to still join us as we sing together, Be Thou My Vision.
final song that we're going to sing for you guys is called Future Past. And the theme for AHU this year is future. And this song that we're about to sing, I've known it for many years and it's carried me through a lot. And probably my favorite lyric in the song is when it says, literally, God, you are my future and my past. And being here right now it's a special moment for me because actually, so 2 years ago, I actually lost my dad and his funeral was here. And so to be able to stand here and to sing this song and the lyrics of the song, which are so beautiful, to be able to see how God has been able to work in my future and in my past and to bring healing from that is beautiful. And I don't know what you all's journeys are or what this coming year will hold for any of us, but my prayer is that what this song was for me, that it can be the same for you and that you would just feel God really close this coming year. So.
afternoon. I would like to thank the musicians for leading us in worship and for the opportunity to reflect. I know each and every one of you has come to our university with the desire to succeed academically, to earn a degree, and walk across this stage at graduation. And sometimes we go to classes and we put on a brave face, but we are really struggling. And so today we just want to take a moment and acknowledge the reality that life can be hard and university life can be hard, whether it's what's in our bank account or what's not there, or struggles with relationships or our family, or just trying to figure out who we are. So at this time, we are going to invite everyone to participate. Students, faculty, and staff. You may have noticed on your program that there is a Post-it note and a pen or a pencil. We are inviting you to write down your prayer requests or things you are thankful for or hopes for this trimester. If you would be brave enough to come forward and stick your Post-it note on one of the 4 whiteboards down front and go ahead and return to your seat. And then the campus ministry team will lead us in a prayer of blessing for our university community.
Please bow your head and pray with us. Lord, as we gather in Denver and Orlando, we place before you our prayers, our needs, our desires, and our dreams for this new school year.
May you breathe new life, new energy, and new purpose into faculty as they teach their various subjects, but also teach about life and faith.
Into staff who keep the university running but find themselves running from the stresses of life.
Into returning students who come with eyes wide open to the challenges ahead, but need openness to possibilities as well.
Into new students who are stepping into a new experience, but want to keep in step with their professors and their peers.
When we feel worried and anxious, may the peace that passes all understanding fill our hearts and minds.
When we crave sleep, may every intentional break bring true rest for the body, mind, and spirit.
When our bank account lowers to nothing, may we be surprised by the grace that supplies all our needs.
When our brains are saturated with information, may we find a new understanding and wisdom.
When the brokenness of our families threatens to overwhelm us, may we grow out of unhealthy patterns and strengthen the bonds of love.
When we struggle to belong, may we find authentic community and real friendships.
When we encounter failure, may we not let it define us, but let it grow and transform us.
When the grief of loved one's loss leaves us aching, may we find time and space to release the pain.
When we find ourselves in need of health and healing, may the compassion and healing we extend to others be returned to us.
When the thirst for love leaves us empty, may we find a wellspring of love in the one who truly knows us.
As we look to the future, may the one who led us to AHU guide our steps along this path and fill our hearts with hope. Amen.
You are my first, you are my last, you are my future and my past. And you are my first, you are my last, you are my future and my past. And you are my first, you are my last, you are my future and my past. And you are my first, you are my last, you are my future and my past.
That was moving, wasn't that? Moving. Thank you. Thank you, the singing team, for the worship and song. And AHU family, it's good to be able to be together to celebrate Convocation, First time that we come together as a university family, students, faculty, staff, to talk about the future, to create community. The singing talent over there and the food was great, wasn't it? Thank you all for organizing that. The team, Jennifer, and all those that made that possible. Thank you very much. And for those of you that, Stephanie Johnson and the team here that has organized today's event, the committee, Convocation, thank you very much. So, what will my future be? What will your future be? It's an exciting question. It's fundamental to how we frame each step of the way of our journey. And one of the things I want to tell you is that the future is really open. It's really open. You craft your future. You craft your future based on your values. What values inform your life? Yesterday at the United Nations, a 16-year-old Greta Thunberg spoke to the nations of this world, calling them out, saying to them, don't forfeit our future by polluting the earth. She had guts. She was courageous. She had some fundamental values that are inspiring her and many, many thousands and millions around the world. Values. Today we celebrate and recognize the student for her service values. And today we talk about that in this institution because values really matter to us. We want our students not just to be inspired by the opportunities that healthcare professions will give you, great jobs, great pay, stability, yes, some stress. But we do what we do because we want to make sure that our vision is clearly focused on the inspiration that our Christian values provides us. But your vision, whatever your goals you're going to set up, is really dependent upon choices. And you have many choices. Some of you today, in fact, yesterday I was talking with one of you, and last spring I was asking you, so what choices are you making? And so I like to do either PT or OT. And she was leaning more in the direction of PT, and now I met her this past week again, and she had switched to OT. Well, but the nursing profession will develop you to be nursing, but then also you'll have choices where to work. Choices. We all make choices in life. We can choose to watch all-night Netflix shows, one after another, you know what I mean? Right? Blow up a whole weekend. There's some really good shows out there that can captivate you and addict you. Those are choices we make. Choices that will determine, and for the most part, the choices that we make and the efforts that we put into our world, into our choices, will determine a whole lot of how we do our work. And of course, then there's those friendships that either make us or break us, those people close to us that will either inspire us to do better, to reach our goals, or also either to pull us down into the negativity. Well, I'm not going to class today. Well, why don't you just stay out of it tonight? And so we are influenced by the institutions and the people that surround us, but also the institutions that surround you, the communities that you're a part of, whether it be a faith community, whether it be an environment of an institution. And so institutions really matter because it is in those institutions where our life is really shaped. And so for us, this institution, Adventist University, stands here today because this is a place for transformation. We, as faculty and staff, all of us who work here full-time every day, we're here to create an environment where your life will experience something uniquely different that will transform your future. And that is actually happening on our campus, day in and day out. And it happens primarily because there are mentors. There are people that are dedicated to making sure that your path and your future is influenced and there's positive energy coming. And it starts with those bus drivers from Calvary to campus. It goes into the Nescafe. You know, Nescafe people can be mentors. Drivers can be mentors. But it's not just them, it's the librarian. It's not just them, it's the registrar's office. It's not just them. Mentors, faculty, staff that say to you, first and foremost, I love you. That's powerful words. You can turn the slide now. People who say to you, I love you how you are. I want to guide you. I want to inspire you. I want to give you opportunities. I want to challenge you. You know, you can't be a good mentor without challenging you. Do it again. You got it wrong. Do it again. You got it wrong. Why are you getting it so wrong so many times? Why are you getting it wrong so many times? So this campus, colleagues and friends and all of us, we need to challenge us. It's a place for transformation because at the very core is we want to mentor you to success. We want to mentor you, we want to love you, we want to guide you, we want to create opportunities for you, and we want to challenge you. And I want to share with you 3 stories of my life. 3 stories of my personal life where this journey of being at a place of transformation, a journey where I experienced mentorship, where I was challenged to the core, and where I found myself kneeling and asking God's guidance was my path to my journey of fulfilling my dreams. So I want to tell you about somebody that was very special to me. His name is Dr. Richard Rice. And there's a photo of me here when I graduated from college. And yes, my hair was a little longer then. It was a time. It was early 80s. Dr. Richard Rice was a mentor. He's a philosophical theologian. And at the time I was pursuing I was a pre-dent student. Imagine, dentist, me, Edwin Hernandez. I couldn't imagine that I would be a dentist. But I was pursuing dentistry choices. And I was taking some religion classes, and one day, Dr. Richard Rice, as I was walking across campus, he approached me and said, Edwin, I need somebody to work with me in my office. I need somebody to help me do library research and all those things. Well, at the time, I was working on campus as part of the painting crew. Southern California, in the summers, it's really hot outside, painted away, chipping window seals and painting dorms. And I spent my first 2 years of college in a painting crew. Learned a lot about painting, learned a lot about enamel and this and that and latex and all the different types, and I learned how to paint. But this professor came up to me and said, Edwin, would you like to join me in being my research assistant's reader? So what choice did I have, right? What a great choice, right? So I exchanged the paintbrush and the roller for an office. And it was a transformative experience. I read everything he ever wrote in graduate school, at the seminary, at the University of Chicago. I was so inspired. One of the assignments that he had for me was to take every single book out of his library and reorganize it. I think he did that on purpose. Took all his library down and then reorganized it. I looked at every single book, the authors, and I thought to myself, after a while of mingling with a professor who cared, who saw potential in me, and thought, you know, let me give Edwin an opportunity to work with me. You'll have opportunities on this campus. People will ask you to do things. People will challenge you to try something, to take your research question, graduate students, and push it, make it harder. Never be afraid to work hard. And so Richard Rice said to me, Edwin, I want you so he gave me an opportunity. Dr. Richard Guys gave me an opportunity. And for me, that opportunity meant that I was inspired to pursue a life of learning. To get paid to read? How cool is that? Right? That's kind of what your professors, I mean, yes, your professors need to be good clinicians and practice. There are other professors that are not clinicians. They're basically scientists, research scientists, and there are others that are theologians on our campus. There's a little bit, we have a big variety of individuals, but essentially the task of teaching and learning is, so I was enamored with the idea that someday I wanted to be like Dr. Richard Rice. I wanted to embrace learning. So he gave me an opportunity, and you all have opportunities on this campus. You're here with a lot of sacrifice. Parents, grandparents, they've been saving up for you. You've taken out some loans, yes, but there's a lot of sacrifice involved in making the choice of being here. It's sacrificial, no doubt about that. You have an opportunity. You're in the program. You're here. Take advantage of this opportunity. Don't miss class, because every class, think about that. Divide your trimester bill by the number of classes you take, and that'll give you a sense of how much it costs to be away from class. Opportunities. Take advantage of your opportunities. And this opportunity, in that experience of working with Richard Rice, led me to think big and to try something totally that I never thought I could do. It led me to the University of Notre Dame. Before that, I went to seminary. And I became a student in theology in the seminary. That's what I finished. And in seminary, I did well in seminary. I studied hard. I would select the option, because in seminary, you could either do a sermon or do a research paper. They gave us that option. So I selected the option of writing a research paper instead of a sermon. Not that sermons aren't important or not that sermons, but it was just that I wanted to be challenged a little more. And so I opted for the research paper instead of the sermon writing. I wanted to be tracked to be able to do academic work in my future. And so when I got to seminary, that's what I did. I took extra work. And so I lived in Southwest Michigan. And close to Southwest Michigan is the University of Notre Dame. Yes, Irish. Yeah, we did lose against Georgia this past weekend. I applied to the sociology program at Notre Dame because I was interested in the relationship between religion and social science. It's an interesting field. But hear me out. I had done and finished an undergraduate degree in theology. I had gone to the seminary, so I was steeped in theology and biblical literature, and I was a good student. But the social sciences was a gap in my knowledge. And so, but I applied to sociology because they had a program in the sociology of religion. And so I had never taken, check this out, colleagues, this gives you some examples sometimes of, and I'm sharing you my story. I had never taken formally a sociology class. Now, come to know later that Dr. Dunbar Smalley's mother taught sociology at the same university where I went to do my undergraduate degree. I didn't take a class with her. I should have. I should have taken, because that would have helped me. It would have helped me at this particular point. After I finished seminary, and I was so I interviewed well. Sometimes you interview well and you can do all the talking and you mask weaknesses. You mask weaknesses that sometimes we bring either to the workforce or to the academic setting. And that was my case, my friends. I started at Notre Dame, and I got to my point in the second year of a 4 or 5 year program where I had to write a thesis for my master's, my second master's. And so I was working away, and I had a deadline to submit my thesis. And when I submitted it to my main professor, who was my advisor, he took that document and he literally and figuratively shredded to pieces. Meaning that he wrote so much red ink that you could squeeze that thing and squeeze that red ink out. Have you ever received a paper with red ink written all over the place? Do you remember how you felt? Do you remember the feeling of inadequacy? Do you remember the experience of having a critical assessment of this particular academic product and feeling like I'm not going to be able to make it? Do you remember those times? And even now, when you have really to struggle and you've been given 2 opportunities and you're about to be given a third and there's a performance plan, and you're feeling like you're really close to being let go nicely but kindly, because at the end there might be a patient who might be killed because if you don't get it right. It's serious business. So I received this shredded, scribbled, all over the place, and I met with this professor, and he says, Edwin, I don't think you belong here. You don't belong here. Because, notice, and so we reviewed the document. I went home. I had my wife working full-time because she was working full-time. I was in graduate school. We had just had our baby boy. My wife's uncle and aunt were living with us, taking care of the baby. There was a lot of commitments. Was I going to fail in my second year of a fully paid doctoral program? Was I going to fail? It was one of those critical moments in one's life when one decides what choices, how do I confront this challenge? And it's the sort of thing that we all confront, how do I deal with the challenges of my personal life, my finances? So I called home and I talked to Dad, this happened to me. I confronted this, I explained this story. And you know what my dad said? My dad said to me, Edwin, Dr. Welch has done a favor to you. He has given you an opportunity to know that you lack. He is basically telling you that you got to show up and work harder. He's basically telling you, and so thank him for all the scribbles and the red ink, because he's telling you that you need to work harder. That you need to put more effort into your work. You have to read more. You have to study. You have to get involved with your colleagues. You need to learn the literature, the language. Here's the thing. Many of you are coming into a field that it's like learning a foreign language. Now, many of you do know Spanish here. I happen to know Spanish. I don't know French. And I certainly don't know Chinese, but it's learning a new language of a discipline. You know what I'm talking about? Nursing or this particular program. You got to learn the language of your disciplines. I had not learned the language of my discipline. And so my dad said, he did a favor to you. So I could have changed advisors, and I took that message to heart. And so what I did was, I decided I was going to work harder, because challenges is like going into the gym and exercising your biceps, When you exercise your brain muscles and spend time diligently sticking it out, being disciplined about your time, being connected with your professors, following, you exercise your brain and you grow and you develop. Well, praise God. I overcame that challenge, and it was a tough lesson to learn, but I worked hard, and my dad reminded me that all of life's challenges have to be confronted. So this particular professor, I said, I want you back, and I'm going to show you that I can stay here in this institution and finish, and I did. And so working harder, giving us opportunities and working harder, that's really what life brings to us, an opportunity for us. And what you learn is, colleagues and friends, is that in this next 3 or 4 or 5 years, however long you're going to be with us, you're going to face similar academic challenges, and you're going to question your ability. And what you discover is that you're full of potential. You're full of capabilities. It just takes working harder. I learned that lesson, and that lesson has paid off to me. And even though I had all those scribbles, I learned the language, and I learned how to write better. And I was able to write and publish and write and be involved in academic life and be known in my area of expertise. But then, colleagues, there are moments in our lives. And it happened to me recently when, on a particular Saturday afternoon, I decided to go out and do some paddle boarding. I was up in the lake, paddle boarders. Anyone? No paddle boarders? 1, 2, 3, yeah, paddle boarding. You know, being a university president, it's a wonderful experience to see you, to experience, to serve, to inspire, to be connected. There are burdens that come with a job as well. And there are burdens of various types. And that afternoon, I was burdened. I needed to go out on the lake, experience some solitude, experience some peace. Just like we all do. We need our moments and spaces for relaxation, recreation. So I was paddleboarding. The sky was clear, no menacing clouds, but all of a sudden, the wind starts picking up. The wind starts picking up, and a dark cloud starts coming around me. And so the next slide kind of shows you that it starts getting dark, and I start feeling the breeze stronger. When you're standing on the paddleboard, paddleboarders, and the wind is coming, you're like a sail. Your body is like a sail. You're like standing still. You put that, right? Yeah, paddle. And you're like going nowhere. You're like the sail. The wind is hitting you straight front. And you know, the thing about that is that it was wind, but life brings to us many challenges, right? Brings to us. In these sticky notes, these are wins. There's many preoccupations that you brought to the front here as you were writing away your prayer petitions. And if I were to read these and share them back with you, I know that there's a parent that wrote about their children. There are some of you that wrote in these sticky notes something about an issue that you're struggling with. Some of you don't know how you're going to finish the year. Some of you are wondering about many things. And you put it in these Post-it notes. And that day, as I was standing on that paddleboard and paddling, I realized that sometimes in life, the winds are so strong that you have to kneel to be able to withstand the winds. Paddleboarders, when you kneel, you get less friction. And I was able that day to move to the shore. and to experience something very powerful in my life, which is the point about God's presence. The point about the fact that kneeling down to me that afternoon was a metaphorical statement about the fact that I continually need God in my life. That I need God to be able to fill me, to lead me, to direct me, to provide sustenance and support. And so you students, embracing opportunities, creating and putting the effort in that moves us to work harder and to grow stronger. For divine presence, pray continuously, and the prayers that have been expressed in these post-it notes are but a representation of what God will do in your lives. That afternoon, I learned an important lesson, that living your life kneeling and dependent upon God is how you drive your success. It's how you drive your sense of purpose in life. It's kind of like what Paul said at the end of 2 Corinthians 4. There is a beautiful text that I want to share with you. And that he says, we are pressed on every side by troubles, but we're not crushed and broken. We are perplexed because we don't know why things happen as they do, but we don't give up and quit. We are hunted down, but God never abandons us. We get knocked down, but we get up again and keep going. An opportunity was given to me by a professor, and you'll have many opportunities on this campus. Mentors, connect, faculty, staff, connect with our students. Students, take advantage of the opportunities. Work hard, strengthen your resolve. And finally, continue to kneel and depend on God, for the future is a future that will be bright. And may this place, this campus, be a place of transformation is my prayer. God bless you.
Once the prayer is finished, please remain where you are to allow the platform participants to exit the sanctuary. As soon as the platform participants have exited, please leave through the back doors of the sanctuary and then through the lobby, where your badges will be scanned for your attendance. Dr. Hernandez, thank you for reminding us that we are in a place of transformation and challenging each of us to reach our goals, our dreams, by taking advantage of opportunities and working hard. Please stand for the benediction. Father God, we thank you for the treasure in the jars of clay that you have provided to each of us. Lord, you have given us power to conquer despair, abandonment, and destruction. We know we have a bright future ahead of us as faculty, staff, and students here at AHU. Now we thank you for allowing us to choose AHU to serve as employees and to study as students. This is our university. This is your university. And I ask that you continue to bless everyone present here today. Bless us individually and collectively, and bless our family members that we represent. Lord, thank you for loving us even though you know us. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.